Hi guys. Okay, so let's start with a couple of things. All the links in the description. My audio setup used for testing these in the description. So, the first thing. I love KZ guys for experimenting and doing some crazy and wonderful driver combinations, as you may have seen in my previous videos. I love that they work and try to jump ahead instead of taking step by step. Well, if you're jumping ahead, sometimes you can be in front of the competition, but sometimes you can jump in a hole and break your leg. It happens. But you take the risk and you win or you lose. I got Castor Pro because you've asked me about my opinion on it, especially compared to regular Castor, and it was cheap enough for me to order a pair. I've paid $17 and that was including shipping. So, some specification as per manufacturer. We have them on the box. No, not really. Okay, so frequency range is defined as between 20 Hz and 40 kHz. Impedance is defined as between 22 and 40 ohms, and that's not typical because usually headphone manufacturers will give you one value for impedance. As for speakers, it will fluctuate a bit, but I'm not sure it would be going as far as all the range between 22 and 40 ohms. Okay, so then the last one is sensitivity, and sensitivity is described by the manufacturer as between 101 and 104 decibels. So that's the box. It's very small. It's basically the same setup as you can see with all or most of KZ headphones. Okay, we have a single-ended cable, we have set of silicone tips, white ones, and we have our headphones and a small instruction in the back. Okay, so the headphones, let's take them out. Let's pause the video. Okay, so these are a little bigger than most of the KZ headphones, so it's not very super easy to take them out of this without destroying this plastic. Let's talk about the build quality. Okay, so let's remove the tips. And in some other reviews, you've asked me if the plating here is actually metal. And I wasn't sure, but for Castor Pro I am sure, because this is something that manufacturer says plainly that this is plated metal. The inside part is translucent plastic, transparent plastic, and you can clearly see both drivers inside. They are placed a little bit different than with regular Castor, and I'll show you that. And I got the version with deep switches for tuning bass, mid-range and treble. Okay, so the first thing you need to check when you'll get these is for switch position. Mine came with all deep switches set to on, so it's the upper position, and it meant that the treble, mid-range and the bass were all boosted. And it sounded weird. So the first two deep switches are responsible for bass response, and the second two are responsible for treble and mid-range response. So as you can see, finally I came to a setting where I'm boosting bass and I'm keeping mid-range and treble normal without any kind of boost. Okay, so let's talk about build quality compared to a regular Castor. Give me a second. So as it happens, I have a regular Castor here, and the differences, let's take one. The first thing is that a regular Castor is a little tad bit smaller. It looks very similar, but it is smaller. The shell here is also somewhat smaller, but the difference is very, very small. And if you take a look inside, you may see, or may not see, depending on the focus on my camera, my phone actually, that the regular Castor seems to have both drivers in parallel, and the Pro version seems to have the driver that's deeper moved in position in relation to the first driver. So, having that out of the way, the comfort. I actually like them because I have rather large ears and they fit my ears very well. And I've just seen something that I missed earlier. Can you see the Castor branding on that one? It's just black. Branding on this one seems like laser hologram. I haven't noticed that earlier, and it's quite nice. Okay, so they are quite comfortable. The tips are okay. I have a collection of my own tips because of my large ears, so I'm usually changing tips anyway to something bigger and a little bit softer. Okay, now to the sound quality. So the first thing to talk about in all of my reviews would be the bass. The bass, well, these are not headphones for bass heads. In fact, I needed to use, as you've seen, both switches 1 and 2 moved to position on to get them to sound, let's say, flat. Not exactly flat, but acceptable. But even with that, they do not have the grunt and rumble I'm used to with other headphones, mostly KZ headphones. And having said that, they can go really low, but you will need to use equalizer and up both low and mid bass. So something like 30 Hz up to 70, maybe 100 Hz, something like that, by 3 or 4 dB. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that the drivers are capable of going lower, but the tuning, I mean quantity of the bass is not exactly to my liking. Moving on to mid-range. Mid-range is somewhat sibilant and can be fatiguing with higher volumes, and that's bad. That's bad. If you're listening to these headphones with moderate volumes, it'll be fine, but once you'll start to crank the volume up, it can start to be fatiguing and sibilant. You will want to lower the volume and listen to them quieter. Sibilance or shoutiness aside, the voices are detailed and good quality recordings will sound okay. But again, bad quality 128 kilo MP3 will make your ears bleed. You will hear every problem with compression in bad quality MP3 files, which in a way may sound as a weird compliment, because it means that these are honest. And they are. Moving on to treble. The treble is extended. It's a little bit dry, I would say analytic sounding, and it lacks some air or maybe transparency. Not much, but compared to other KZ headphones that I've tested, these will have lower amount of air and transparency. And the original Castor, these guys, no, not these guys. Oh goodness, these guys. These guys are better in that regard. Okay, the next section is about detail. Detail is very good. I was surprised by the big amount of detail that I could hear with these headphones. Why? Because remember, these were only $17, so it means that they are cheap. And the detail amount here was amazing, actually. Quite good. Okay, why is that? I suppose that they have large amount of detail because of the mids that may be a little bit pushed forward, and that may be also the cause for a little sibilance. It seems like the mids are boosted here. Even though I had switches on the neutral position, meaning off, as you can see. Okay, moving on to scene and imaging. They have good center image, good left and right information, but according to my ears, very little depth information or height information. But again, that's something that I've came to expect from most of IAMs. Some of them, mostly planners, have plenty of 3D information, but most of other types of drivers, at least to my ears, will not have that. Only the best and the most unusual ones are able to have a proper layering as full-sized cans for me. Okay, some loose thoughts and summary. The base. Guys, if you've watched my other reviews, you know I'm an electrostat guy. This means that I love some airiness and transparency, and it also means that I'm usually not a brass head. So when I say that these lack bass, they really do. Equalizer fixes that, but they have a problem with proper tonal balance out of the box. The shoutiness in the mid-range. That's what I mean here. I definitely still like original Castor more. They don't have that shoutiness that I don't like with Pro version. So again, all the links are in the description. Audio setup that I've used for my testing is also described in the video description. If you like that video and if it helped you to decide whenever you want to buy a set of Castor Pro or just pass them by, you are more than welcome to support my channel by buying me a beer via Super Thanks. That's also found under the video. Again, maybe a little comparison between Castor and Castor Pro. I really like that holographic thing with the brand name, sorry, with the model name. It's gone. It's gone. I've broken it. Okay. All in all, I like the regular version more. These are not bad as long as you'll be listening to them in with low volume. When you start to up the volume, you'll clearly hear that they are getting shouty. Okay, that's it guys. Thank you. See you next time.